Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents The Little Book of Sex Facts, Tantalizing Trivia to Blow Your Minds, by Sadie Cayman, narrated by Carmen Rose. Introduction. Have you ever wondered how many people around the world are having sex right now, or who the largest penis on record belongs to? Perhaps you're more interested in what the world's first vibrator was originally used for. Whatever arouses your interest, this candid collection of titillating trivia is guaranteed to hit the spot. So prepare yourself for a wild ride, as this book equips you with everything you need to become a certified sexpert. Just maybe don't listen to this while you're at work. Every day, there are approximately 100 million acts of sexual intercourse globally. In other words, around 65,000 couples are having sex at this moment around the world. The average time a person spends kissing in their lifetime is 20,160 minutes. That's 2 whole weeks. Sex helps you sleep better. During orgasm, the body releases endorphins, which can have a sedative effect. This can lead to a deeper, better quality sleep. The oldest known evidence of condom use is a cave painting in Grotte des Cambarelles in France, estimated to be 12,000 to 15,000 years old. A single sperm contains 37.5 MB of DNA information. This means that one ejaculation is equivalent in data capacity to 62 MacBook Pro laptops. According to research, 1 in 3 Americans keep the lights off during sex. The most common reasons are self-consciousness, inability to relax, or wanting to save money on bills. Semen is packed full of multivitamins, including vitamin C, calcium, magnesium, potassium, zinc, and much more. Studies have also shown that ingesting semen can help you sleep better and even act as a natural antidepressant. Half an hour of sex is said to burn between 85 to 200 calories, the equivalent of 15 minutes on a treadmill. The word masturbate comes from the Latin manus, hand, and stuprare, to make dirty. Despite its bad name, we now know that masturbation is in fact good for you. According to a study published by the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, nearly 10% of all dreams involve sex. Women get erections too. The clitoris is made up of the same spongy erectile tissue as the penis, which expands and engorges with blood when aroused. Eating ginger stimulates the feeling of excitement associated with sex. It elevates your heart rate, gets your blood flowing, and makes you excited for the night ahead. A 2017 study found that straight women have the fewest orgasms. Of the straight women surveyed, 65% reported having orgasms every time they have sex, compared to 95% of straight men and 86% of lesbian women. While orgasm and ejaculation generally appear to coincide for men, they actually occur in rapid succession, with orgasm coming slightly before, and some men can orgasm without ejaculating at all. Research has shown that wearing socks during sex makes a woman more likely to orgasm. This is because most women find it easier to climax when they feel comfortable and relaxed. The world's largest recorded penis belongs to American actor and television presenter Jonah Falcon, whose appendage measures 9.5 inches, 24 centimeters flaccid, and 13.5 inches, 34 centimeters erect. The vibrator was first widely used in the Victorian era by doctors who used them on their female patients as a cure for hysteria. It is estimated that 37 to 39% of men globally are circumcised. As well as being a religious and cultural practice, circumcision is also performed for medical and cosmetic reasons. The clitoris is actually much bigger than it seems. The part we see is just the tip of the iceberg, with a much larger wishbone-shaped structure that extends up to 13 centimeters underneath the skin. Reports claim that the highest number of orgasms experienced in 1 hour by a woman is 134. The record for a man is 16. A single human male produces enough sperm in 2 weeks to impregnate every fertile woman on the planet. Russian woman Tatyana Kozevnikova is reported to be the world record holder for lifting the most weights, 30.86 pounds, with her vaginal muscles. Sex can help clear a blocked nose. During intercourse, in addition to the erectile and labial tissues, the inner nose also swells. Aerobic exercise that increases blood flow to the genital region, such as jogging, cycling, or vigorous walking, will increase your libido. Upper Paleolithic art, dating back 30,000 years, depicts people using dildos to pleasure themselves and each other. This means that the human race invented sex toys long before the wheel. The average man has 11 erections per day, and 3 to 5 erections during a full night's sleep. Of all nations, the Greeks claim to have the most sex. 87% say they have sex once a week. Adult actress Lisa Sparks set a world record in 2004 when she had sex with 919 men in less than 24 hours. When sperm are first ejaculated, they can reach speeds of up to 28 miles per hour. That's about as fast as Usain Bolt can run. Sex is an effective form of pain relief. During arousal and orgasm, the hypothalamus in the brain releases the feel-good hormone oxytocin, which can significantly reduce pain perception. According to one study, Spain, Brazil, and Italy produced the best lovers. The English were said to be too lazy, the Swedes finished too quickly, and Americans ranked in the middle. The female orgasm lasts 3 times longer than the male orgasm, with the average female orgasm lasting for around 20 seconds, compared to just 6 seconds for the average male. The amount of semen produced with each ejaculation is 1 to 2 teaspoons. The average man will produce about 14 gallons or 1 trillion sperm in his lifetime. Formicophilia is a sexual pleasure derived from the feeling of small insects crawling over the skin or stinging, biting the private parts. American writer Philip Roth caused controversy in 1969 when he published Portnoy's Complaint about a sex-obsessed, sexually frustrated teenager who masturbates using various props, including a piece of liver. According to a study, 36% of people under the age of 35 ditch the post-sex cuddle for checking their Facebook and Twitter accounts instead. Men fake orgasms too. According to Time Out New York's 2014 study, more than 30% of men have faked an orgasm, so it isn't just ladies using their acting skills in the bedroom. Most women need direct clitoral stimulation in order to reach orgasm, and cannot orgasm from vaginal penetration alone. La petite mort, or the little death, is a French term used to describe the moment of physical and spiritual release just after orgasm. There are only 2 physiological responses in a human body that cannot voluntarily stop once they have started: sneezing and orgasm. Researchers from the University of California found that men who helped with the housework got 50% more sex than those who did none. The fear of having, seeing, or thinking about an erection is called ithifallophobia. Some women can have nipple-gasms, although they're pretty rare. Nipple stimulation releases oxytocin, which can cause the contractions associated with orgasm. This brings more blood flow to the genitals and can result in the big O. Some modern languages have beautifully descriptive words for dildo, such as consolador, Spanish for consoler, and calagoeg, Welsh for fake penis. An apple a day can lead to better sex. According to one study, women who ate the fruit once a day enjoyed a more regular and fulfilling sex life. A 2014 study showed the average man thinks about sex 19 times a day, while women think about it 10 times a day. The clitoris has over 8,000 nerve endings. That's the greatest concentration in the entire body, and double the number of nerve endings found in the penis. The ancient Egyptians used dried crocodile dung as a contraceptive, as it contains spermicidal properties. They also used honey and condoms made of fabric. Sex can lead to a more regular menstrual cycle. Research has found that women who had sex at least once a week experienced less painful, more regular periods. According to special research from the British Medical Journal, the more orgasms you have, the longer you're likely to live. The reason semen sometimes has a bleach-like smell is due to the chemical spermine, a natural disinfectant that buffers the sperm from vaginal acids. In Thailand, males are offered free vasectomies on the king's birthday. Often over 1,000 are performed in his honor. The G-spot, a highly sensitive area of the vagina, is named after Dr. Ernst Grafenberg. His research found that attention to this area could trigger powerful orgasms and female ejaculation. Men have a G-spot too. The prostate has been dubbed the male G-spot due to its high concentration of nerve endings. And it seems the secret is out too, as sales of prostate massagers have been on the rise in recent years. Research has shown that more people prefer coffee to sex. A survey of over 7,000 people showed that 51% of them said they could go longer without sex than they could without a cup of coffee. Sex is a great natural beauty treatment for women. It helps produce estrogen, which makes women's hair shinier and gives their skin a natural glow. According to a survey, the most popular sexual fantasy in the UK is threesomes, with 20% of women and 30% of men wanting to try it out. According to the Durex Global Sex Survey, the average age for losing your virginity is 17 years old. A man's testicles can increase by 50% in size when he's aroused. Kissing is good for your oral health, as it increases salivary flow, which helps to clean your teeth and neutralize harmful acids that cause tooth decay. When it comes to notches on the bedpost, the Chinese top the polls, with an average of 19 lovers per lifetime. The Vietnamese have the least, with an average of just 2.5. In 2013, a couple in Thailand broke the record for the world's longest kiss, with a smooch that lasted 58 hours, 35 minutes, and 58 seconds. The most common out-of-the-bedroom spot for couples to have sex in is a car. A university study has shown that straight females are just as aroused by watching erotica involving only women as they are by watching erotica involving both sexes. Kellogg's cornflakes were actually invented as part of an anti-masturbation crusade. John Harvey Kellogg, one of the loudest anti-masturbation campaigners, believed that a healthy diet would curb sexual desire. Scientists believe that the head of the human penis exists so it can scoop out any competing sperm that might be inside their partner's vagina, therefore increasing the man's chances of procuring offspring. When Dr. Stuart Malloy put an electrode in a woman's spine to cure her back pain, she had an orgasm. He then tried to market the Orgasmatron, a push-button device providing remote-controlled instant pleasure. In humans, lips are more sensitive than genitals, and 100 times more sensitive than the tips of the fingers. Of all the body parts, in both men and women, the clitoris is the only one that exists solely for pleasure. Some people are allergic to semen, leading to itching and burning sensations. Even unluckier is to be one of those rare men who are allergic to their own semen. Sex and chocolate have similar effects on the brain. Just like sexual arousal, the consumption of chocolate increases dopamine, triggering the brain's craving and reward centers. Women generally make more noise than men during sex. Survey results reveal that reasons for making noise include expressing pleasure, boosting their partner's self-esteem, and relieving boredom. Eunuchs in imperial China often rose to the top positions in society. Traditionally, a eunuch would keep his genitals in a jar on a high shelf, and after death, the jar would be buried with him, so that he could be reincarnated as a non-castrated man. Sperm makes a great anti-wrinkle cream, as it contains proteins that tighten the skin and give you an instant lift. Breasts can swell up to 25% bigger when aroused, making them super sensitive. The clitoris never stops growing. By the time a woman reaches her 30s, her clitoris is 4 times larger than it was at puberty. The U.S. state of Minnesota specifies that it is illegal for a man to have sex with a live fish. It says nothing about dead fish. Despite many people using it as a common excuse to avoid sex, sex can actually relieve a headache as orgasm releases the tension which restricts blood vessels in the brain. According to a study, people tend to prefer cheese to oral sex. Every year, Columbia University asks soon-to-be graduates if they'd give up cheese in favor of oral sex, and every year the seniors overwhelmingly choose cheese. For both men and women, the heart rate averages 140 beats per minute at the moment of orgasm. That's considered a tachycardia, a rapid heartbeat. A teaspoon of semen contains between 5 and 25 calories. In the Aztec culture, avocados were considered so sexually powerful that virgins were restricted from contact with them. Around 500 to 1,000 deaths occur per year as a result of autoerotic asphyxiation, the intentional self-restriction of oxygen for the purposes of sexual arousal. The Romans had 3 different words for types of kisses: osculum, a kiss on the cheek; basium, a kiss on the lips; savolium, a deep kiss. Researchers found that people who sleep on their stomachs have more sex dreams. This is because sleeping in this position puts physical pressure on the genitals, which then transfers into our dreams. The average length of an erect penis is between 5 and 6 inches, 12.5 centimeters to 15 centimeters. When flaccid, penis size averages around 3.5 inches, 9 centimeters. A study in the Journal of Sexual Medicine found that the average duration from the beginning of vaginal penetration until ejaculation was just over 5 minutes. Cat heads is a slang expression described in Francis Gross's 1785 Dictionary of the Vulgar Tongue as a sea phrase for a woman's breasts. Men who smoke have twice the risk of developing erectile dysfunction as non-smokers, with the link being strongest in younger men. During the Victorian era, when public standards of morality were extremely strict, there were up to 80,000 prostitutes working in London. Funderwear, from Durex, Australia, allows lovers to move their fingers on an app to transmit vibrations directly onto their partner's underwear, an innovation that could bring a little more pleasure into long-distance relationships. Non-lubricated condoms are distributed among the armed forces as emergency water holders, which have the capacity to hold about a gallon of water. In a global survey, more than a fifth of people would rather go out with their friends than have sex. 10% would rather play sport or go shopping. Taco Bell's Chilito changed its name to the Chili Cheese Burrito when it was discovered that Chilito in Spanish means small penis. In several countries, some new brides place tiny bags containing chicken's blood into the vagina prior to intercourse to prove the hymen was intact before marriage. The sex icon Marilyn Monroe had problems reaching orgasm. She told a friend that she had never had an orgasm with any of her 3 husbands, or her many famous lovers. During the First World War, members of the British Secret Intelligence Service discovered you could use semen as invisible ink. They stopped using it after they realized how badly it smelled when it got old. Because there is an increase in blood circulation around the genitals during a woman's period, she may experience more powerful orgasms during this time. Having at least 4 orgasms a week can apparently reduce a man's chances of getting prostate cancer. Like the eye, the vagina is a self-cleaning organ, so you don't have to put anything up the passage to clean it. Humans have pubic hair because it lessens friction during sex and prevents the transmission of bacteria. It is also theorized that the hair may also trap secretions that hold pheromones. Having sex at least once a week can lower a man's risk of heart disease by 30%, stroke by 50%, and diabetes by 40%. In one study, researchers found women who had a stronger sense of smell had more frequent orgasms. In another study, researchers found that those who had lost their sense of smell reported lower sex drives. Approximately 70% of men refused to have sex during their partner's period. Although any body part or item of clothing may be an object of sexual fetishism, the shoe and the foot are the two most common fetishes in Western society. According to research, the average sex session comprises 100 to 500 thrusts. According to a survey conducted by sex toy company Tenga, Beyoncé and Brad Pitt are the two most masturbated to celebrities. The Kama Sutra states that a ram's or goat's testicle boiled in sweetened milk can stimulate sexual desire. The first penis pump was invented by Gedding's David Osborne, an automobile and tire professional who took what he knew about mechanics and applied it to the erection, creating an aid for erectile dysfunction, which he sold to the masses. Women with a PhD are twice as likely to be interested in a one-night stand as those with a bachelor's degree. In ancient China, drinking mercury or lead after sex was believed to prevent pregnancy. Sadly, it often resulted in sterility or death. A Cosmopolitan magazine survey found that foreplay between the average married couple tends to last between 14 and 17 minutes. After fingers and vibrators, candles are the phallic objects used most often by female masturbators, unlit ones, hopefully. Overweight men have higher levels of the female estradiol hormone, which blocks male hormones and delays orgasm, meaning heavier men generally last longer in the bedroom. According to a 2014 survey, 76% of men watch porn, compared to just 36% of women. Women also tend to tune in with their partner, while men are happier to view porn alone. Morning dew is a slang term for vaginal lubrication or sexual arousal on waking up. Morning wood is the male equivalent. Drinking too much coffee can deplete your sex drive. Too much caffeine overstimulates the adrenal glands, producing stress hormones that can have a negative impact on libido. Masturbation and coitus interruptus, when the penis is withdrawn before ejaculation, are both sometimes referred to as onanism, thanks to the biblical story of Onan, who spilled his seed deliberately on the ground. Eating chili, curry, or any other hot spice can act like an aphrodisiac by increasing your heart rate and causing perspiration. In a 1995 study in Switzerland, women were asked to sniff sweaty T-shirts. They consistently preferred the smell of men whose immune systems were different from their own. At least half of all sexually active people will have a genital HPV, human papillomavirus, during their lives. In 90% of cases, the immune system will fight off the disease in 2 years. The 18th century Empress of Russia, Catherine the Great, was rumoured to employ professional foot ticklers to turn her on. People who have just fallen in love have high levels of the neurotransmitter dopamine in their brains. This creates a pleasure rush similar to cocaine. In Moroccan mythology, Candice is the goddess of lust, who seduces men before driving them insane. In 13th century China, cock rings were commonly used and were made from the eyelids of goats. The goat's eyelashes were usually left on to add an extra bit of stimulation. Wearing high heels may strengthen the pelvic muscles, which helps orgasm. In ancient Rome, only prostitutes were allowed to wear high heels. Far from a modern invention, the dildo actually dates back around 30,000 years, and they were originally made from stone. Later versions of the dildo were made from wood, leather, and even dried camel dung. Researchers at Rutgers University found that different regions of the brain become activated in response to stimulation of the vagina, cervix, clitoris, and nipples. Aristophanes, the 5th century BCE Greek comedy playwright, devised 106 ways of describing the male genitals and 91 for those of the female. On the 16th of February, 1899, the President of France, Félix Faure, died in his office at the Élysée Palace while engaging in sexual activities. There are latex-free condoms made of polyurethane and polyisoprene for people with latex allergies. As protection against HIV, condoms make sex 10,000 times safer than unprotected sex. In ancient Greece, there was an annual procession for the god Dionysus, when the men carried a large phallus. The city of Tyrnavos still holds an annual phallus festival during Lent. Good listeners are often good in bed, too. Someone who is engaged by your conversation and alert to conversational cues is more likely to be responsive to sexual needs. In 401 CE, St. Augustine wrote, "Nothing is so powerful in drawing the spirit of a man downwards as the caresses of a woman." According to medical literature, there have been approximately 80 cases of a man being born with 2 penises. According to ancient Jewish law, labourers should have intercourse with their wives twice a week, donkey drivers only once a week. Plant-based substances such as ginseng or vanilla, patchouli or musk scents are believed to stimulate sexual energy. Petting parties were all the rage in the 1920s. These were places where young men and women could explore kissing, touching, and other aspects of physical contact. But there was no risk of getting carried away, as the parties included everything but sleeping together. Porn star Sonny Nash became the record holder for the longest time spent masturbating, after doing it for 10 hours and 10 minutes in May 2012. In 953 CE, Princess Olga of Kiev introduced a law whereby men could return their wives if they found out they were not virgins, asking for monetary or material compensation. Psychotria alata, a plant that grows in Central and South American tropical forests, has a flower that resembles 2 luscious, bright red lipstick lips, hence its nickname, hooker's lips. In Greek mythology, Aphrodite was born when the god of Cronus cut off Uranus's genitals and threw them in the sea. The Kama Sutra contains 529 sex positions, including 8 different types of oral sex. Researchers at the University of California found that it takes the male brain only 1/5 of a second to decide if someone is sexually attractive or not, causing his pupils to dilate and his heart rate to accelerate. In 1837, there were over 50 pornographic shops on London's Holywell Street. This scurrilous address was lost when the Strand was widened in 1900. Regular Pilates classes lead to a better flexibility, more strength in the upper body and improved abdominal power, all good for trying different sex positions and making orgasms more intense. A man's sweat glands release the hormone androstenedione, which can increase women's sexual arousal by up to 200%. The best-selling work of fiction of the 15th century was The Tale of the Two Lovers, an erotic novel by the man who later became Pope Pius II. At the 2012 London Olympics, which lasted for 17 days, the athletes were provided with 150,000 free condoms, approximately 15 each. In 1919, before being elected President of America, Franklin D. Roosevelt is believed to have created a special undercover unit in the Navy. It attempted to entrap gay men by performing oral sex on suspected homosexuals. Cervical caps made of gold or silver were once the most fashionable form of contraception before science discovered toxic shock syndrome. The word aphrodisiac is named after Aphrodite, the Greek goddess of love, pleasure, and procreation. Kissing burns approximately 2 calories per minute. The scent of vanilla from a candle, cake, or even ice cream naturally boosts libido, creating feelings of calm and reducing inhibitions. A poll found that 82% of computer geeks claim they put their partner's pleasure above their own, compared with only 41% of fitness professionals. King Edward VII spent so much time at Le Chabanais, a brothel in Paris, that a special love seat was made for him. This was to support his considerable weight, as he enjoyed the services of many courtesans.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?